You know, we are now living in a world where we have so much flexibility. So now is the best time to take advantage of that. You don't have to be in one place. As long as you have a laptop and Wi-Fi, you can be anywhere. So really the world is your oyster, and you can have such incredible experiences if you really decide to take advantage of that, because you never know who you're going to meet, what you're going to do, what kind of memories you're going to create, and then ultimately, what is the point of life if you're not living it to like the fullest?
Welcome to the Career Anywhere podcast, a show to help aspiring remote professionals discover their ideal career and lifestyle so you can be more inspired and in control than ever before. So in today's episode, I'm talking to Nazieh, co-founder of Coworking Tulum, a membership-based community that connects digital nomads, remote workers, and entrepreneurs in one-of-a-kind locations around Tulum to work, to play, to celebrate. I know that Coworking Tulum made a huge difference in my experience living in Tulum for a year, mainly in the community aspect and having you guys show us some incredible locations to work or just to get together with like-minded people. Can you tell us a bit about how you came up with this idea to start a membership-based community in Tulum?
Sure. Firstly, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for that introduction. So, Coworking Tulum started when my corporate job went remote. I was living and working in New York at the time, and when we were working from home, it no longer made sense for me to pay these expensive prices for rent when everything was in lockdown. So it was late 2020, and I decided to come to Tulum for a week to take a break and just work from Tulum. When I got here, I loved it. I absolutely loved the environment. I was always a city girl. I lived in New York, London, Hong Kong. And I came to Tulum, and it was like this whole new way of working, getting connected to nature and all of those things. So 1 week turned into 1 month turned into 2 years. But the way co-working started was I wasn't the only one that had decided to step away from that city life once we had the flexibility of working from home. There was a lot of people doing that, and a lot of people chose Tulum. And what I found was every day people were trying to find other people to work with and also places to work from, because we were basically just working from our apartments by ourselves. So Coworking Tulum started initially just with 5 really cool places that I found in town that had fiber optic Wi-Fi, that were incredible boutique hotels that nobody knew about. So it started as just, hey, these are some cool places that we can work from. If anyone wants to work together, let's try out these places. And now it's become, like you mentioned, a membership platform where we connect remote working professionals with each other so that they can co-work. And then we partner with boutique hotels all over Tulum where people can work from. So it's been an exciting journey.
I love this story. I can listen to this story like 10 times over. So, have you always held community in such high regard? As you mentioned, you lived in New York, Hong Kong before coming to Tulum. Would you say you had a strong sense of community there, or did your upbringing influence how you value community?
So growing up, definitely community was everything. So I'm originally Afghan, and community is a very, very strong part of our culture, and also just the way that my parents were when we moved to Australia. They couldn't speak the language, and so we sort of all congregated with the other Afghans, and we had a very, very tight-knit bond with everyone. But I actually left Australia about 12 years ago, and I moved to London and no longer had that community that I grew up with, but I found new communities that shared the same values that I did. So joined a lot of like expat groups in London that were full of Australians. Same with New York. I came to New York and I connected with a lot of other expats that were living in New York. But to be honest, that community feel, that really, really family type of community feel was always missing for me. It wasn't something that was easily accessible. Like you have friends You can go out and you can meet a lot of people in these big cities, but having that sense of belonging can sometimes be hard to find. What really, really stood out for me when I came to Tulum, because I didn't expect to stay here longer than a week, was firstly how small it was and how everyone kind of knew each other. And I really loved that. I hadn't really experienced that in a long time. So you could be walking down the street and you could reconnect with people that you met a day or two before constantly. And I love that. So what Coworking Tulum did is it basically almost like created a more formal structure around that, and through our regular interactions continue to build on those relationships, because really a lot of relationships are further solidified through regular engagement. So Coworking Tulum really facilitates a seamless way for people to continue to engage without really any effort. So the more you see someone, hopefully that leads to like better relationships and better experiences.
That makes so much sense from how you got that sense of community through your own experience to co-working Tulum. And I was just about to ask you, like, what is it about co-working Tulum that makes it feel like you're a part of a family?
So I think it's like a few parts to it. So there's the structure that we have where you can co-work any day from different locations, and then we have our social activities where people are coming together regularly. But I think that kind of concept exists in so many places. With Co-working Tulum, it's basically founded by myself and my brother. And so my brother and I have that sort of sense of hospitality really, really ingrained in us from when we were like at a very young age. So we embed that so much into the culture of Co-working Tulum. It's all about hospitality. It's all about our member experience versus locations that we go to or the activities that we do. It's about how do we make our members feel when they join? How do we make them feel like they're part of something? How do we, take away that awkwardness? When we have an event and people come for the first time, we are always looking out for who's standing by themselves, who's not talking to anyone. So we can make that sort of seamless introduction and be that friendly face that that sort of takes away that fear of going into new places. So it's really like embedding that element of hospitality into the core culture of who it is, who Coworking Tulum is, and what we do, which really makes it feel like a family.
Yeah, you're bringing back some memories right now because I think I was totally the person standing by myself. And then you or Pei would come up to me and just chat with me. So, another question for you. What would you say to the people tuning in right now who are in a transition in their lives and are uncertain about what the future holds? What has your journey in a successful career to entrepreneurship taught you that you could share with us?
I think one of the biggest lessons for me has always been to really take the risk. Risks are scary, but the reward on the other side can be so much bigger than staying in the comfort zone. It's very cliche, and it's like probably advice that has been heard many times, but it's so, so true. Doing something sort of outside your comfort zone will stretch you and also hopefully lead to something more exciting and different because you're doing something that's outside of what you regularly do. So for me, I think taking risks is just one of the best gifts that you can give yourself. And the second thing is, we are now living in a world where we have so much flexibility, and that's just going to continue to go, that we're probably going to move into more flexibility. So now is the best time to take advantage of that. You don't have to be in one place. As long as you have a laptop and Wi-Fi, you can be anywhere. So really the world is your oyster, and you can have such incredible experiences if you really decide to take advantage of that, because you never know who you're going to meet, what you're going to do, what kind of memories you're going to create, and then ultimately, what is the point of life if you're not living it to like the fullest?
Great answer. I totally agree with you. And the last question I'm going to ask you is what does the future hold for Coworking Tulum?
So, Coworking Tulum started as sort of a concept to address a problem that we had here in Tulum, where people just didn't know where to work from, and they were really, really seeking that connection. So we have sort of trialed this concept now for a year and a half here. Well, not trialed it, we've actually lived it. And what we find is that a lot of our members are not originally from Tulum, and they're not necessarily living here long term. So they're going back to their cities where they're from. 70% of our members are either American or Canadian. They go back and then they call us and they say, God, I wish that I had this kind of community where I'm from. I wish that in Portland or in Austin or in Seattle, I could just easily connect with my neighbors, and we could go to the local hotel and all work together from there. So hopefully the future of Coworking Tulum is that we break into the US market, trial this concept in a small city, and see if there really is something that would be beneficial and help people, because ultimately we are a community. We're not a co-working company, we're a community, and our vision for the world is to create in real life communities everywhere, especially while we're in this trend towards more virtual experiences, the metaverse, and all of these things are great because they show progress. But in terms of real life human connection, we have like this deep need. It's an ancient need for community. So our vision is that we reconnect with that and provide a universe of in real life communities anywhere.
I'm so excited for this stage for Coworking Tulum, especially like I'm looking ahead, and I think I will be traveling outside of Mexico soon, and just be able to actually tap into this platform and use it as a remote worker. I can't wait.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for connecting with me today, Nazieh.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity.
And for all of you that's tuning in, if this episode resonates with you at all, hit subscribe. And if there's any other topic about remote work that you want us to talk about, then let us know in the comments or the reviews.